So, in an upset win yesterday, the football team came out on top and defeated the before undefeated Steelers 23-17. With the last undefeated team now losing their first game, the Steelers are now 11-1, and the football team improves to 5-7, tied for first place in the NFC East with the New York Giants. Um, it's exactly as I predicted, man. It came down to the final minutes. The football team came out on top. Uh, Mario, man, I'm gonna give it to you first, though. What do you think about this?
Sorry, I was muted. Credit to the football team. Hey, I gotta give you a credit. You were right, man. Obviously that defense really showed up. They outbest the number one defense at that game in that game. So I'll start off with defense since they were like the highlights. So some guys I want to get to. I think one guy who was a key factor in this game was John Bostic, the former Steeler. He had an interception and 10 tackles. I think those 10 tackles really helped in this game, you know. Then you go to DeShazer Everett, the cornerback. He had two passes defended, which might have been a key if one of those completions would have got through, because it was a one possession game. Montez Sweat had three passes deflected or defended, and he had a tackle for loss. That was definitely a big help. Um, Cameron Curl had eight tackles, and De'Aaron Payne had five tackles or two tackles for loss. So honestly, I think those guys really did a good job. You know, I think they were. Then you got guys like Cole Holcomb who had nine tackles with one tackle for loss. And you have guys like Kevin Pierre Louis who had one tackle for loss. These guys were the defense really stepped up. Now going to the offense, I mean, there were a couple of guys on the offense for the football team that really stepped up. But like Alex Smith had a good game. He went 31 for 46, 296 yards and a touchdown. So we got to give him credit. The rushing game wasn't really there. The only highlight from the rushing game was Peyton Barber's one TD rush. Logan Thomas had nine receptions for 98 yards. Cam Sims, who was surprisingly one of the key factors in this game, because we thought it would be somebody like Terry McLaurin, but Terry McLaurin didn't really have that big of a game. Cam Sims had five receptions for 92 yards, and then J.D. McKissick, the running back, had 10 receptions for 70 yards. I think if you want to, as for Washington, if you want to point to a fact that I really helped, I'm gonna say this: the biggest scoring factor was the kicker, Dustin Hopkins. Dustin Hopkins went 3 for 3 on his field goals. He had 2 out of 2 extra points, and that's a total of 11 points. So don't be surprised if you see Dustin Hopkins end up becoming special teams player of the week, because he was a big huge piece scoring wise to the reason why the football team won. Going to the Steelers, um, just to name a couple pieces, Big Ben, he went 33 for 53, 305 yards, 2 TDs, and one interception. This right here is what cost the Steelers the game. The rushing, the running backs cost the Steelers the game. When you only had 21 rushing yards this whole game with no TDs, that's how you know. That's a very big part of the reason why you lost, especially on that goal line stand. I remember the Steelers were on a goal line stand. They had 6 attempts to get in, and four of them, it seemed like 4 out of 6 of them went to Benny Snell, and Benny Snell couldn't get it in. So I mean, like, and then they tried like trickery and stuff, and it wasn't working. So that is a big key right there. When your rushing team does not step up, again, when your rushing team does not step up, it puts more pressure on the passing game to do good. And Big Ben did all he could, but at the end of the day, it wasn't enough. A lot of drops. I think they had like 7 drops in this game. No, 6. They had 6 drops in this game, which I couldn't believe, man. You know, like that's just unnecessary for a receiving core to have 6 drops, and especially as a good receiving core as they are, it's unacceptable. You know, these past 2 weeks they've had a total of 13 drops combined, and that's kind of depressing. But if we're gonna point to anybody on the receiving core, James Washington had 2 receptions for 80 yards and a TD. Deontay Jackson had 8 receptions, 71 yards and a TD. Eric Ebron had 7 receptions and 68 yards. Other than that, receiving was not one of their strong suits. Rushing was not one of them strong suits. You know, I mean, like they made some good catches, but like just more drops that cost them the game. You know, some easy catches that they just needed to make, especially when you're a pro receiver and you just didn't make them. Now going to their defense actually did a pretty good job. You know, Steel's defense always does a good job every week. I mean, they held them to 3 points. They held them to 3 points in the first half, which I thought was pretty good. Which, by the way, it wouldn't have been 3 points. I'm gonna give credit to Alex Smith. There's like 13 seconds on the clock. He gets sacked. This dude takes the ball,
He just takes
runs
the
to the
ball.
sideline so the ref can't find the ball.
That was funny.
Unbelievable. And
That was funny.
and purposely runs down the clock just so they can get 8 seconds back to kick a field goal. What a genius, bro.
That's pretty smart. I gotta give him credit.
Alex
I
Smith,
seen that. I was
I'm
watching
sorry.
I was watching those final 10 seconds, and I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Like, why are the refs coming out? Why are they saying delay of game or something like that? There was like there are no fouls. Well, I'm like, so why are they on the fly? Are they doing anything? And it went back to I see him take the ball. I'm like, ah.
Yeah, a lot of people are gonna be taking that move. But going to the defense, Robert Spillane, he had 2 passes defended and a sack. TJ Watt had 6 tackles, a sack, 2 tackles for loss, and a forced fumble. That's some defensive player of the week caliber numbers right there. So he could be competing with Cleveland Farrell, in my opinion. I think those are the 2 best defenders on the AFC side. But if he had won, he probably would have got it. He didn't win. So most likely he's not going to be a defensive player of the week. Avery Williamson, he had 9 tackles and a tackle for loss. Mike Hilton, who was actually a key factor in this game, who we didn't expect to be a key factor, had 6 tackles and 2 tackles for loss. Vince Williams had 7 tackles, and then Stephon Tua had 1, and Stephon Tua had a sack. So those guys obviously did a good job on defense. You know, I mean, they usually do a great job on defense every single game, but a couple offensive plays late in the game for the football team, a couple more defensive plays for the football team. And honestly, the Washington football team capitalized when they need to, which was that last drive. Came down to Pittsburgh. Montez Sweat had that deflection on the ball. The ball went up and it got picked off. And that was the game. So, I mean, it's a tough loss for the Steelers. I know Mike Tomlin's not happy about it. I know he's pretty upset. It's a good win for the football team. Now there's a couple teams in the NFC East who are starting to turn into big threats, like the Giants and the football team. We make fun of them all year, but now they're starting to kind of pick it up. And hey, look, I got to be honest, credit to them, man. The Giants and the football team, if one of them deserves to go to the playoffs, it's definitely one of those 2.
Yeah, I'll say this, man, and that's what I was trying to tell you yesterday. With those close games that the Steelers was in, it all came down to that last drive, and this is what I was trying to tell you from before. That the last drive of last night's game compared to the last drive of those other games, the Steelers have never had to face a defense like the football team's defense. And we all make fun of the Washington football team. They're a team with no damn name, for crying out loud. But damn it, if I got to give credit to this team has one of the best defenses in the entire league. There's no doubt about it. It's a very scary defense, the top 3 defense in the entire league. You can't even argue it. I mean, come on now. And that's what I was trying to say yesterday. Like, it came down to the last shot, and that's exactly what happened. And I knew the Steelers would flunk because that defense is just so strong. I mean, yeah, you can make a case for the Ravens defense being good, but that defense is nowhere near as good as that football team. I mean, let's be honest with each other. You'd be lying if you said otherwise. But I mean, yeah, I mean, like I said, you know, it all came down to the defense, and that's what happened. Both defenses are pretty elite. I'll give them that. But I feel like it really came down to who was better on offense, and the football team just proved that they were better on offense that game. So credit to them, man. I mean, like you said, we make fun of them all the time, but damn, they're looking like a threat. Never thought I'd say that.
Yeah, credit to them, man. Like, I got to give credit to the Washington football team. They played a hell of a game against one of the best teams in the league. Again, I think one thing that's been costing the Steelers these past 2 weeks, the reason why it's been so close is because these drops. I mean, Chase Claypool, Juju Smith, and Deontay Jackson, and then you got James Washington. Those are 4 very good wide receivers. These wide receivers are so good that they don't have a receiver at 1,000 yards because each of them are getting 500. with 3+ reception TDs. They're the only team to have 3 players with 500 yards and 3+ reception TDs. So I mean, like, there's a reason why they're this elite. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why I tell you about these receivers. They are very good. But the past 2 weeks, I don't know what's been going on with these drops, man. I don't. They're dropping easy passes that a 15-year-old can catch in a backyard. That's what they're doing. They're dropping easy passes that they shouldn't be dropping as NFL players. I know Chase Claypool had a great catch in like the first half. I think he just jumped up in high air and he caught the ball, and they couldn't get into the end zone. But like, they've just been having drops, bad drops that just been costing them. And I mean, it's costing them in a bad way. And they've been lucky the last week, but this week Washington just capitalized on it. And so congrats to Washington. Pittsburgh's obviously gonna have to go back to the drawing board. I expect them to be better than this come next week and the weeks on. It's gonna be very tough for them because now they got the Colts and the Bills back to backs, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Again, congratulations to the team with no name in the Washington football team. As for the Steelers, it gets to the drawing board.